Hello, and welcome back to Enlightened Affluence, where you can find all types of resources for whatever you need as an entrepreneur. It's also a place where you can find resources if you're thinking about becoming a resource and what you want to do to make your career changes and your career shifts. So, per usual, my name is Candra, and it's good to see you all back. Today we have Carol Tanya. How are you doing today?
My dear, I am doing fantastic.
So Carol is just an all-around Renaissance woman. She has a radio show called Let's Connect that we're absolutely going to get into. She's also a voiceover artist for lights action voiceover, which you know is
Yep.
a very intriguing field, and a host of other things that she's into, and just a plethora of like emitting confidence. But we're going to talk about, what she does and any advice she may have, and for what you may want and need to do is going through your entrepreneurship or even seeing what your dream is. Miss Carol, how
Well,
are you?
hello, my dear.
So tell us about what it is that you do, whether it be about your company, your radio show. What is it that you do as far as being a businesswoman?
I just love that you said all around Renaissance woman. I was like, oh, yes, I love it. I love the sound of it. But, as you said, my name is Carol Tanya, and I am a voiceover artist. I didn't start out that way, but here I am. And, we'll chat a little bit about what voiceover is in a little bit. But, as a voiceover artist, I'm so excited to use my voice to really market or make a product or a service a little bit more marketable. So it's really supporting what your product is. For instance, if you make clothes, if you make shoes, whatever that is, and if you have books like you, I know you have a fabulous book. So what voiceover does is to support that and to make it even more visible. Now that sounds a little bit strange because voiceover artists are not seen. We're in the background. So all you get is the voice, right? So we're talking about your product, we're talking about your book. So let's say, and I'm dropping all these hints, Candra, hint about your book. So, so if you have a book and a voiceover artist like me, then we're doing the audio. I'm doing the audio for your book. For some people who are so busy, they have busy lives, they don't have time to sit down and read an entire book, but they want to hear it. So maybe they're driving in the car, they can still listen, or even if they're not driving, but they just don't feel like reading, like some people are tired of reading and they just want to enjoy and relax. So then they tune into my voice reading the book for you.
Yes.
Another instance of that, which is voiceover, is you turn on the television, right? And you see a commercial, and it's a commercial for a car, it's a commercial for food, it's a commercial for anything, going on a vacation, that's also voiceover. You turn on and you're talking about Toyota, enjoy the journey or something like that, it's a commercial. So that's voiceover. You don't necessarily always see my face, but you hear my voice. So there's so many different aspects of voiceover also for e-learning. So for folks who right now, virtual learning or learning at home is such a big deal. They'll use someone like me to record the lessons that you're hearing online. So there are a lot of kids or even adults who go to online schooling, and there's a person reading the subject for you. If it's a math or an English assignment, there's someone reading it. 1 + 2 = what? Oh, you're doing great. Next, let's learn about blah, 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 blah. We're learning about frogs. Now let's go into the next lesson. So I'm the person taking you through each lesson. That's another form of voiceover. And I'll jump in here because I'm so excited about this. I recently did a voiceover project, and it's for a very large company, and it's called Tapestry Incorporated. Tapestry is the parent company for Stuart Weitzman, Kate Spade, and Coach. I think we all know those
Yes.
companies, all of those companies.
Yes.
And I did a voiceover for them, and it's sort of similar to that, where every employee across the United States of these companies, when you get hired, you need to go through a training. And, I think many of us, especially if you've worked in corporate, you'll know about this. You have to be trained on the company policies and what you should do and what you should not do. Or if you do this, then you're going to get fired. So it's, it's that kind of, yeah, it's the kind of person, it's the voiceover that tells you the do's and the don'ts if you work for this company. So I did something like that for them, and I was honored that, I auditioned, of course, and they picked me to do the voiceover for them. So basically all of these employees for all these companies right now, they're hearing my voice. Yay!
Should be honored because your voice, like we associate voice with brand. And when it's something like that, and I love how you like jumped into voiceover character like so fast when doing the e-learning, because it's like, people think like, oh, voiceover, does it have to just be your voice? Like you can jump and back and forth between and represent with how you portray your own voice, different tones, different everything. So it really is an art form. Like I was like,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm glad she did that.
Exactly. And a lot of voiceover artists will tell you voiceover is voice acting. So that's the other thing that I didn't mention, but it's really acting, because a lot of people think, and when I first started, I heard this a lot too, and I thought it would be easy as well, until you get to learn that it's not as easy as what you think. Just because you have a mouth and you can speak doesn't mean that you can do voiceover, because it takes more of acting. You have to change your tone. You have to change the inflections in your voice. You have to use pausing. Where do you pause? What type of emotion are you trying to convey, right? Are you being sad? Are you being happy? Are you being peppy? Are you being conversational, like you just mentioned, which, by the way, that is a very, very, it's the most popular, how would you say, type of voiceover. Is conversational, and that's something that they tell everyone, every voiceover artist, you must be able to master it, because you need to sound natural, like you're just having a conversation. You don't want to sound like you're a robot, like maybe like Siri, today is the weather, today is 75 degrees. You don't want to be like that, so you have to sound conversational, and that puts people at ease. So to jump back to what I was talking about with the acting, it's voice acting. It's the same way. I don't know if you recall any movies that you see. There are a lot of movies on television sometimes when you're watching and you don't see the person, but all of a sudden you hear what they're thinking.
Yes.
Right? You hear what they're thinking, but their mouths are not moving, because they're like, wait, did I turn off the shower this morning? Oh, yes. Did I turn off the stove? You don't see them talking, but this is what they're thinking in their head. Oh, I'm going to this job interview today. Oh, am I going to get there on time? Oh, this traffic is a nightmare. You get to hear what they're thinking. That's voiceover as well.
Nice. See, all these different things that we just did not know. And so, like, how do you go about, like, either finding your clients, or how does someone go about, finding you? Like, what is that dance about? Do you have to post everything online? Do you have to advertise? Like, what do you have to do to go through? Do you have an agent? Because it's acting. So do you have an agent at all, or?
So it all depends on the individual, right? And what you want to do. There are some people that have an agent, or they have multiple agents. There's no rule that you must have one. So it all depends on what you're looking for. But today, social media is huge. And it's a huge part of your marketing and your promotions. Now, when we talk about that too, in marketing and promotions, of course, you can't just aim at the sky. You have to know or have an idea who you're marketing to. Let's say for me, my style of voiceover, because everybody tells me this, is my voice is soothing and relaxing. And that's the word everybody uses. So then that also helps me to tell what my audience, who are the type of people that I'm trying to reach, who am I marketing to, who markets to people who would appreciate my sound. Okay, so then that's who I target. Now I use a lot of social media. So you can find me on Instagram at Lights Action Voiceover. You'll find me on YouTube where I post a lot of videos and a lot of voiceover samples. So if you ever want to know what I really sound like doing these different samplings, you can check me out there, Lights Action Voiceover, on Facebook, Lights Action Voiceover, on LinkedIn, Lights Action Voiceover. So you get what I'm saying, you get where I'm going, right?
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. So come with me, I'm on social. So check me out. And you can reach out to me there, or you can email me at lightsactionvoiceover@gmail.com directly. Now that information is also on all my socials. So my email information, so you can email me and we can talk about whatever your project is. And I'll give you more information about what I do. And before I forget, one of my favorite types of voiceovers to do is it's IVR or just phone prompts, right? So what that is interactive voice response. So let's say, I know I've been there. I don't know about you. Let's say your pharmacy, I don't know, I use Walgreens pharmacy, there's CVS because I'm in the, the New York, New Jersey area. If you going to your pharmacy or one of the larger chains or something, and you get a phone call from them, and that's the voiceover, that would be me on the phone saying, hi, hello, this call is for Candra. Is this Candra? Press 1. If not, press 2. If you'd like to speak to customer service, press 0. I wait for you to press. That's kind of like IVR, you press. If you're calling about your medication, press da-da-da-da-da. If not, then hang up. Have a nice day. Something like that.
Oh, so that is a person. I was like, how do they get, this robot to say it?
Yes, and I'm actually working with a company that does that.
I knew it was like small, but the bigger picture, you always think it sounds automated. That was good too. Yes.
Because more people, it's funny that you say that, because more people today are looking for an actual sounding voice, a person, because they don't want to use a computerized voice like you used to hear in the past. You can tell it's a computer. So now they're looking for more of a natural sounding voice to sound human. Because when you pick up the phone, you want to hear something that sounds like you.
Yes, you do. You do. And I just thought that AI had gotten a lot more expansive.
They have also, so let's not even get into that. That's a whole nother area of contention for a lot of voiceover artists, with AI taking away jobs from, voiceover or what or not, so that's a whole nother area.
Oh yes, we'll get into that on a live. We'll do a live about that one.
Yeah.
But we had talked earlier about, we mentioned coming from corporate. So explain to us, like, what is your background? And then what is it that made you say, you know what, it's time for me to follow my dream. And my dream is voiceover.
I am so glad that you asked me that. That is a great question. So I have been in corporate America for a very long time. I would say, I don't care, 20 something years. Okay. I've been in corporate America. So, and straight out of high school, corporate. And I was there for many, many years. And I have worked for all the major health insurance companies that you can think of. And within this industry, you have so many takeovers and buyouts and mergers and this and that happening. So let me tell you something. I have been through so many layoffs as a result of that, because you start working for one company, then another company comes in and buys them out. Then what happens to both staff from the different companies?
Right, exactly.
They don't need two people doing the same job. So usually one has to go. And a lot of times is the one that's there, they're bringing in their own staff and bye-bye you're gone. So I have been through that so many times. And the last time it happened to me, I just said, you know what? I don't think I want to do that anymore. I've been there, done that. And you can't get your hooks into something, especially these days. It's like being at a job for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. That's a thing of the past.
Yes, it is.
You know, that no longer happens. So I said, I don't want to go back into that cycle and working all those crazy hours and all of that. And I had a pretty senior role, I must tell you. So I have been working in compliance and regulatory affairs for many years, because initially I wanted to be a lawyer and go to law school and all of that. I took a little detour and I went into compliance, but
Yes.
still working under the legal department. You know? So of course my parents weren't too happy about that. Dad, are you listening? I know you're still not happy.
But you've done wonderfully. So
Yeah, Dad wanted a lawyer and all that stuff. And my mom was like, I'll support you, honey. That's my mom. I mean, she cracked the whip to make sure we finished school. We got our degrees and all that stuff. But at the same time, you know, but my dad was, you know, you better be a lawyer or a doctor.
Yes.
But, you know, so I worked in corporate compliance for a long time as the director of compliance and regulatory affairs, and I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. But it's a very demanding job, long hours, you know, and all of that stuff for all of you folks who've been there, done that.
Mhm.
And then the last time I got laid off, my company kind of went defunct. You know, they ran out of investments. And I said, I'm going to take a break. I'm just going to take a break before I jump back in. And while I was taking a break, you know what happens to you when you take a break for something? You know, you're like, you start to think, do I want to go back? Do I want to change direction? All those thoughts started to come into my head, and I just didn't want to go back. And a friend of mine actually said to me, being that part of your job has always been to do all these elaborate presentations and all of this to, you know, senior executives, negotiating with, you know, regulators at the state level and all that, why don't you continue to do something with your voice? And I said, what do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. And I said, maybe voiceover. I was like,
Love it.
the light bulb went off.
Mhm.
Because let me tell you, Candra, all up until this time, I used to watch all those documentaries on like BBC, National Geographic and all of that stuff, you know, about the safari and all the animal planets and all this stuff. I used to watch all the documentaries and I used to mimic them, not knowing that I was practicing voiceover.
Wow.
And I used to just mimic every time. There's a gentleman named David Attenborough. He is very famous for doing all of those BBC, all those documentaries that you watch. That's his voice, that amazing voice that he has. And I used to listen and practice his intonation, the way he talks, where he paused. And I used to talk about, well, the lions must hunt, but the babies are hungry. You know, and stuff like that. I used to practice everything just so I could deliver it the way he would deliver it. Didn't know I was practicing voiceover because I loved it. And then it just dawned on me when a friend suggested that I do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going in. I'm going in. And that's how I started.
Wow. Wow. And that speaks to the conversation we were having earlier. It's like, you know, when you state that you're going to do something, it's done.
Yeah.
So it's like you were talking about doing likes, action, voiceover, likes, action, voiceover, and then
Say that 3 times.
it was up. You know, you know, it was up there. It was done, and it's like, you know, so of course we have dreams, we have visions, we know what we want, and we see in our mind's eye how it can be successful. But we know as entrepreneurs, we have ups and we have
Yes.
downs. So what is it that when you're up, it's like yes. But what is it that keeps you going when there's a downswing?
The fact that I don't want to go back to what I was doing. That's what keeps me going. Who wants to go back to that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what keeps me going, girl. Every time I look around and I see that, oh man, that's what I got to go do again. It's like, oh yeah, I got to keep going. For me, there's no choice. But seriously, it's not easy once you start to think that, all right, you're going to go the entrepreneur road and you're going to do this seriously. It is hard. It is lonely. Okay. And I will say that it is a very lonely road. It is very difficult. But if it is something that you want to do and you have love for it, you have to know. See, I read somewhere before also, and I listened to motivational talks as well. I listened to a lot of Les Brown, Tony Robbins, etc. And they also talk about you have to know your whys. Know your why. Why are you doing this? You know, first of all, if you don't know that, you're not going to continue to do this because it is tough. A lot of us think that maybe we could just get up one day and just start doing something and, you know, that's it. And we're going to be successful. No, it's hard. It's long. It takes a lot of thought, takes a lot of time, but you have to know why you're doing it. And for me, I write it down as well. So I have a little planner and all of that. And I write down my whys, you know, why? Because I want to be able to set my own schedules. I want to be able to see my kid every day, you know, or be with your family or at a certain time. Like when I was working at my corporate job, you're hustling, you're in early in the morning. For me, because of the senior role that I played, 5 o'clock, I can't just clock out and say, okay, I'm going home, I'm done. I have to stay later after my staff has left, and you know, I have to wrap up and I'm in meetings and they're going home and I'm sitting there like, I wish I could do that. Right. You know? So those you have, I don't want to go back to doing all this. You have to know your whys. I want to be able to work a certain amount of hours in the day and then perhaps wrap it up and go home and be with my family or work from home. Yes. You know, so that's what I would say for anybody who's trying to do this. Know your why. It is not going to be easy, and have some sort of a plan. Write down everything. I do write down everything I want to do. Well, maybe not everything. I'm not going to lie and say I write everything down. I try to write everything down, but you really have to write down what your goals are. You know, what is it? And it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you just want to make chewing gum. Maybe you want to make hair ornaments. You want to make accessories. It doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to do. Just write down your goals and maybe come up with a timeline of what you want to do and in what time frame you want to do it, and start somewhere. For me, am I talking too much? Just tell me, because you know I can go. You need to. Okay, because I will just go.
No, this channel is there are so many people who don't realize that they're not the only ones going through, you know, this. Especially when it comes to the ups and the downs. And we need to like help on, like when you said that it's lonely, the first thought I had is, you know, well, I'll be here for you, you know, and there's other people here for me. So maybe get you in a network, you know, so that we can help one another, because you do feel like an island. Like it wasn't until we were talking about fear and everything, because sometimes I wake up and I see all these people and it just seems to me like they're fearless. But then I hear people say it seems to them like I'm fearless. Then I say it to you, and you're like, you know, well, you seem to be like you're fearless. I'm like, well, you seem to be like you're fearless. Then you realize you're not alone. So everything you're dropping, so continue.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that. You know, we all seem on the outside, you know, and that's why they say never judge a book by its cover, because we never know what the person is going through on the inside. But yeah, I'm here to tell everyone and anyone who's listening, we're all going through the same thing. We're all human beings. We all feel the same type of emotions, maybe at different times and for different things in life, but we all share the same emotions: fear, anger, doubt, you know, love. So, and we have ups and downs, highs and lows. So for me, I fear is a big thing. So I'm constantly having to, and then the doubt, because you always have people who are trying to undermine you. There are always going to be those naysayers trying to get in there to knock you off of your path and
Right.
to just put that doubt in you to say, oh, you're not as good as you think you are. Who do you
Mhm.
think you are? You
Yeah.
know, but that's when you really have to go back to that quiet space
Mhm.
and find support. You know, like you and I, Candra, I was talking to you before. I'm like, listen, you find people who are, find your army. I like to say, find your army, which is really your network. People who share common goals,
Yes.
people who are positive influences on you. Join certain groups if they're going to support you or they're doing similar to what you want to do, and leave all the naysayers behind. And
Yes.
that's one of the reasons I also before when I said it can be lonely, you know, because before you find your army, which is your network, you're kind of going it alone and you have to push yourself, you know, to get where you need to get to so you don't give up. But that's the key word. Don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. There's so many days when I felt like I wanted to just, oh, this is too hard. I can't do it. And there are days when I don't do anything. I was telling you about that. There are some days I'm like, oh, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
I don't. And
Yeah.
I'm a little discouraged. But then I think about what would I be doing if I don't do what I love? What would I accomplish if I don't do, if I don't try to get my goals, try to achieve my goals?
Yes.
And the answer is nothing. I would be doing what I don't want to do. I have to go back to things that I may not love. So why
Okay.
not keep on pushing? That's my motivation.
Yes. Yes. And speaking as a testament, do not go backwards. Do not go backwards. If you think, that it's like, oh, I'll just do this and then it'll, no, because it robs you of your energy. If you have a good momentum going and all you need is to either network some more, market some more, I advise you stick to it. If anybody is in your ear saying you can't do it, you need to put them to the side and find your people who say that you can. Because if you're thinking about it, if you're thinking that it's needed in the market, if you're looking for it and you're going to bring it, you have your people who need you. So many different things that you would know that you would need voiceover for even your business, small business owners. Give yourself a more professional, image, but investing in voiceover, and contacting Carol for it because she had like you've seen her go through three different aspects of voice types just in the interview. So you have no idea. You've just
Yeah.
got a snippet of what she can do. So you definitely will want to reach out. And speaking of like a snippet of what you can do, let's talk about Let's Connect. That show right there, when I say the first time I had ever been able to, hear about the show, you all were coming back. You had been off, the air for a couple of months. And so, a lot of people were tuning in to hear about the book. But the chemistry with you and Reese just back pop, 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 pop. And then the fearless, but also upbuilding. Like it's like you all can tackle these different conversations
Yeah.
in a way where it's both entertaining, not condescending, still being both sides. Like talking about housing assistance. So many people need it, and so many people are ashamed,
Yeah.
and not being ashamed is there for a reason. talking about, all these different things that affect us, getting the male point of view on certain things like powerful women and what, they're saying, and being able to have that and it be a conversation. You see on so many other shows where it just dives into an argument. And you and Reese know how to hold the ground, bring the aspects, bring the comedy, and also bring that space where it's like, a man can be honest. You don't see that a lot. So tell us about Let's Connect. What brought this on and what are you looking to do with it in the future? And where can we find it?
Yeah, all great questions. So Let's Connect, everybody, is a radio show. And it's a radio show that you can find on www.myturnradio.com. And My Turn Radio is an all-female radio station, all female, which is amazing. And we support one another, it's all female. And our radio show on My Turn Radio, our show is called Let's Connect. All right. And our motto is more compassion, more empathy, and less judgment. So that's what we base our show around, and it's called Let's Connect. And it's really, it's myself, it's two of us, myself and my co-host Reese. We love connecting people. It's really all it is. It's connecting people with each other. And we have amazing guests on our show. We talk about all the amazing topics that you can think of. We touch it. And it's not just for only Black and brown people, because we have everybody on the show. It's for everyone. And it's international because we have guests and listeners from the UK, okay, Canada, Jamaica, and all across the United States. So we are international, and we touch on, I want to mention some of the topics that we touch on, because our goal, Reese and I, we sit down, we plan out our topics, and we want to educate people. So we have fun with it though. So it's not just a heavy, show where it's all draggy and boring. As you know, Reese is crazy. My co-host, she is crazy. Okay. And I bring the calmness.
She might beg to differ. That's why you gotta watch the show. You gotta watch the show.
You have to watch us with our craziness. We are night and day, but we make it work because we enjoy each other's company and we enjoy making it fun for you. And we do different topics. Like I said, and our guests we make our guests feel at home. And Candra, you can attest to that, I hope, because, we love to make you comfortable. You guys are the experts in whatever field that you're in. And we give you that platform. Like I said, it's a national platform. It's international platform. So you can reach all your different audiences and talk about whatever your expertise in, and you teach us. So we talk about autism spectrum disorder. We've talked about generational wealth. We talked about credit improvement. We've done mental health, suicide prevention. So we've had a doctor on the show that talks about this and educated everybody. And by the way, we have the links up on, and I'll talk about that later on before I veer off my topic here. We talked about social issues too. We talked about internet dating, being at work, whether men are intimidated by career independent women. And we had some amazing men on the show who are also very independent and gave us their perspectives. Yeah. So we love having men, women, everybody on the show. We've talked about inmates entering the workforce. A lot of times that's a taboo subject and nobody wants to talk about it. But we've had a CEO on the program doing very well, who was a previous inmate. So came on and educated everybody and talked about that. We talk about blended families. We talk about interracial relationships and marriages, how to do copyrights and patents, like how to start your business and how to protect your ideas. We talked about wills. Our topics run the gamut. And I want to tell you, everybody, we love to educate our audience and we love to hear from our audience members. It's very interactive. People call in, they jump on our Zoom. We don't care. We have fun with it because we love hearing from everybody. And Once our show is done, all the episodes are posted on our YouTube page and our Facebook page, because we do this also on our Facebook Live as well as on the radio station. So on Facebook, you can find us at Let's Connect. On YouTube, all the episodes are out there for you to go check out. It's Let's Connect with a K. Let's Connect, KONNECT. So you go out there, all the topics that I mentioned are out there for you guys. If you want to learn, I've had friends who called me up and said, oh my goodness, that mental health episode was major for me. And that just makes me feel so good, because I feel like if I can help one person, then I'm doing my job. And it talks about suicide prevention and it educates us. And I didn't even know that suicide is one of our highest numbers of suicides is in the elderly population. Did you know that? I didn't. So that's something that we learn, and we talk about all these different topics. So please, if you'd like to learn more about some of these subjects that we touch on, check us out on our Let's Connect page, and then follow our YouTube page, like the video, follow, and subscribe.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you don't want to miss it. It's like to have an open forum and to realize that your guests are actually being honest and they're open, especially because a lot of times, just to, a side note, sometimes we can put our men in a box, and they're afraid to tell us, and we need to know what they're really feeling, especially, as a mother to a young man. I want to know that, these grown men are being honest about what's going on. And likewise, you having a daughter, you want her to know, what men are really thinking, because into those honest conversations where, I don't want to hear all the time, where are my ladies at? No, and everything. We just love our, no, sometimes they don't love us. Yep. Sometimes it's not all good. And we need to be able to have these open conversations, and you all create
absolutely
open platform where they can be honest and disagree. They're like, no, I don't think that. No, we don't see that. That's not what we're thinking. And you all were like, okay, enlighten us. Let's go.
Yep.
And absolutely. It was, and you have a way of there's just so many things that are subtle aspects of that show. So I would definitely encourage everyone. And all the information is going to be posted at the bottom. All the links for Let's Connect, all the links for Lights Action Voiceover, any way to get a hold of Carol for business-wise, to ask questions, to inquire, to get pricing, to know times, like dates and times. We'll put all that down there for when you can find out what time the show airs and everything. So definitely want to tune into that. But as you know, we're wrapping everything up. Here's, and you've dropped a lot of gems during this interview, but if you were to tie it all together and wrap it up in a bow, you're sitting, in a room, and it's entrepreneurs, people who are afraid to take that leap, but they really they feel it right here, I know I can do this. What affirmations, what, words of encouragement, what would you advise? How would you close this out and wrap it up for everyone?
It's so funny. As I was mentioning before, I have a planner that I like to use, right? And if anybody visits my page on Instagram, also Lights Action Voiceover, you'll see sometimes I post little pictures from my planner. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can't see it,
keep going.
Keep going.
Everything you need will come to you at the perfect moment.
Yes. And I put a little asterisk here. So true. And I keep it there at all times too, so I can see it. One thing we have to do, and you and I talked about this before, and even when I'm feeling down, you'll say the same thing to me: keep going. If there is something that you want to do, just go for it. Don't listen to the naysayers and all of that. Start it and keep going as long as you do not stop. Now, there's another one that I really like, and I I mentioned it recently as well, is, hang on one second, I'm gonna find it for you. This one here, I love, 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 love as well. I posted this on my page. Can you see it?
Life is a journey, not a race.
So
Nice.
what that means is life is a journey. It's not a race. You're individual. When I talked earlier about setting goals and knowing what success will look like for you, success is different for everyone, right? So what your vision or your picture of success is, it might be different from mine, right? But you have to know what that looks like. So life is a journey. It's not a race. Your journey is your journey. List out what your list of goals are. And at the end of the day, write down your accomplishments. I like to write down every day. If it's even one thing that I accomplished for the day, I like to do that just to make myself feel a little bit better. Okay. I write down, and Oprah Winfrey also talked about that. She's very inspirational, as you know. She talks about listing down, I think she mentioned either 2 or 3 goals for the accomplishments rather for the day. Every day, write down. Sometimes I tell myself, or I tell my kid, if it's even one thing, I make my kid make lists. Okay. List out what we're supposed to do. What's your to-do list for today, or what's your goal list? And even if it's one thing, check it off and look at it. And I can say, yes, I achieved something today. So, you know, again, it's a journey. It's your journey. So just live with that and just make sure that you keep going. Know what you want and go for it. That's what I say. And everything else will fall into place later on. All the business advice and everything that you have to do to plan your business, that will come later. But if you haven't started yet, take the leap. Go for it.
Yes, that was just like beautiful. I'm going to need to start doing that, especially like I write the goals down, but I haven't written down the accomplishments. And I think I need to do that. So I'm definitely going to take that advice.
Yeah.
So with that, everyone, we're definitely going to have Carol back on again. So again, her information will be posted at the bottom.
Oh, I wanted to do one last thing for you. My Airwaves air freshener
yeah.
voiceover commercial for you. I want to just leave it as a sample on your show, just for people to get a sampling of my voice, really doing a sample commercial. If you don't mind, can I do that?
I do not mind at all. Add it to the repertoire. You all need to watch the whole thing. If you're fast forwarding, you go back and hear all the different aspects of her voice. But I did ask you to do this one. I did. So let's.
Okay. So this is a commercial that you would hear on the radio or even on television, a TV commercial, and it's for an air freshener. So here we go. This is Nick. This is Nora. This is Nick's nose. This is Nora's nose. Nick's nose likes a little air freshener. Nora's nose likes a lot. Their noses didn't know what to do until their nosy neighbor Ned told them about the new improved Airwick Airwaves. Airwaves have a low setting for Nick's nose and a refreshing room-filling scent for Nora's nose. Now Nick and Nora's noses can live in harmony. Now that's a sampling. I think I bumbled a word here and there. I'm sorry, I couldn't sing very well, but
Nobody. I like that one. I got to see the actual like commercial for it. So when she started, I was like, oh, can we do like a sample or ever? When you started reading that one, I just got like this big smile because I remember the noses, and they can see that one on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes, that one is on my YouTube channel.
Yes, and so you can really see like get like behind the scenes, and like you saw she got the character and everything, and there's expression, and it's an art form. And
it is, and it's so funny. I think that's one of the reasons I stumbled over one of the words, because like I said, usually a voiceover artist, you don't see our faces. We're in a vocal booth where you don't see us, we're just by ourselves and we're making all the crazy faces, because you got to do whatever you got to do to bring out the emotion that you want. So being that you were seeing my face, I was like, oh man, she can all see my face right now. I'm making all these weird faces.
And you know what? I'm enjoying it, but you know what? That little snippet right there, you know, I know we said we're going to wrap it up, but I just want to go speak to that little snippet right there. I was enjoying the faces, but we do that to ourselves all the time. Like, oh my God, they're seeing us. And I do that inner voice too. It's like, oh my goodness, they're seeing us. And on the outside, I'm like, I'm enjoying the faces. I'm excited, like I'm experiencing it with you. And so that's just like, that speaks to everything that you just said though. Like, we're not in this alone. You know, and so everything that we think of, that little voice is saying, you know, maybe this isn't, no, don't listen. I listen to that one that says, you know what? I'm going to take them into my world and everything, because what we're judging ourselves on, the others of us are enjoying it. You know?
See, look at that. That's a testament to what we just talked about.
Exactly.
See that? And I'm thinking I'm looking weird and crazy and Nora's nose. And you're going, oh, I'm enjoying the faces she's making.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh wow, you know, but it speaks to both sides right there. It just personified everything we're trying to get across to fellow entrepreneurs and to dreamers that are trying to, you know, figure it out. So all those little naysaying voices, we got to put those to the side, because you just see it right
Absolutely.
there, you know, right there. So we want to keep that in mind. So awesome. You know, again, thank you, Carol, so much for your time. Thank you for gracing us with your talent. And, you know, it definitely will have your information at the bottom where people can get a hold of you. And also, likewise, I'm Candra for your wine needs, your culinary needs, you know, if you're needing to learn how to cook in a different fashion. But everything that I'm doing, you can check out on cklewis.online. And that'll be at the bottom as well. We're actually kicking off 5 weeks of wealth building. So you definitely want to check in on my site. You want to check in for all the different things that you need to plug into over that next 5 weeks to see where you can fit in, see how we can help you. So with that being said, thank you so much, Carol. And to my enlightened affluence audience, I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.